Happy Monday. I hope you all are ready for another great week of e-learning and that you're ready to get down to business. Today we're going to be reading a new book. It's a fractured fairy tale. And before we get to that, I just want to give you a couple reminders about your work today. You're starting a new week of Florida Studies Weekly. You're working on week 19. That is going to be covering the Spanish-American War. Make sure that you're paying close attention to the headings of each of the sub-articles so you can really dive deep into what they're asking you to learn. Important names, dates, the events, try to think of them in order so when it comes to Friday, you're able to put those events in order when you're asked to for your test questions. You have study guide questions, but those are just comprehension. They are not test questions, so make sure that you're listening to the articles or you're reading them, watching some videos to help you better understand what we're covering in this section of the publication. Today is Administrators Appreciation Day, so hopefully you've sent me your card, poster, sign, so we can include those in the video that we're making for Mrs. Rio, Mrs. Weitzel, and Mrs. Forrest. If you haven't, please go ahead and make sure you send that to me this morning. In vocabulary, we're going to be reviewing possessive nouns, so make sure that you know there's 6 lessons for the entire week total, that you start Monday and work on it slowly throughout the week so you're learning the new vocabulary and you're going to be able to take the quiz later on in the week and do exceptionally well on that. And the last reminder is in math, we are going to be going back to review measurement and more specifically how to estimate using different things around us in our real world to understand how long something is, how much we can fill it up with liquid, and how much something weighs. So look back at your math notebooks for some helpful lessons, and then make sure you watch the videos that I have posted as well. All right, today the book is going to be called Seriously, Snow White Was So Forgetful. The story of Snow White as told by the dwarves. I love Snow White dearly. She's a beautiful person inside and out, but honestly, the girl's got a mind like a leaky bucket. Here's the real story of Snow White and the 7 dwarves. My name, by the way, is 7. We dwarves used to have real names, but Snow White couldn't remember them. One day, we came home from the mines to find our cottage door open. We thought we'd been burgled. But no, it was just a lovely little girl, sound asleep. In the morning, she had quite a story to tell. Hello, she said, I'm Snow White. The queen sent me into the woods and a hunter was supposed to kill me. But he was nice and let me go, and I wandered a long time in the woods. I guess I'm very pretty and that's why the queen doesn't like me. I'm Snow White. Would it be all right if I lived with you? I love playing house and keeping house for real. Wouldn't it be all that different, would it? Did I tell you my name is Snow White? Wow, did she have energy. Life with Snow White was interesting. She forgot to turn on the stove. She'd forget to turn it off. She'd make banana cream pie and forget the bananas. She knit scarves that were 10 feet long just because she forgot to stop. On the bright side, she laughed at all of our jokes and she never complained about anything. Years passed. Snow White grew up, but she didn't really change. She remained her sweet, charming, forgetful self. Then one day, 5 heard a rumor. The queen knows Snow White is alive, he told us. The magic mirror spilled the beans. We gave Snow White orders to stay inside the cottage. She was not to open the door to anyone. We knew the evil queen would try to hurt her. But Snow White quickly forgot. Twice we came home to find her lying on the floor. It was clearly the work of the queen. The first time Snow White couldn't breathe. She was wearing a brand new corset that was laced too tightly. The second time, she had poisoned comb in her hair. All the queen had to do was dress up as an old woman and offer something pretty for sale. Any thoughts of being careful went right out of Snow White's head. We posted reminders. We even wrote, "Do not open the door," in syrup on her pancakes. But once again, we came home to find Snow White on the floor. This time, we couldn't help her. There was no corset to loosen or comb to remove. We thought she was dead, killed by a magical spell. And yet days passed and she remained as lovely as ever. It's like she's forgotten how to wake up, Five whispered. We couldn't make ourselves bury her, so we placed Snow White in a glass coffin and brought her to a spot on the mountainside. We took turns guarding her. Thank goodness that's not the end of the story. One day I heard voices in the woods. No, Your Majesty, it's not time for lunch. We ate our lunch an hour ago. Don't you remember? Oh, right. Silly me. Suddenly, I was face to face with a prince, but he barely noticed me. He couldn't take his eyes off Snow White. What happened to her? He asked. What's her name? I told him the whole story. She's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, he breathed. Those lips, those eyes. What did you say her name was? Could I take her with me? Now that I've seen her, I don't think I can live without her. What silky hair she has. Tell me again, what's her name? I smiled. The prince reminded me of a certain someone. We were bringing Snow White back to the cottage so the other dwarfs could say goodbye. Without warning, the prince stopped and turned around. Hey, what about lunch? He asked. The servants slipped. The coffin slid, and Snow White coughed. I never heard such a beautiful sound. Out of her throat flew a bit of rosy red apple. Rosy red poisoned apple, that is. She sat up. Did someone say something about lunch? She asked. Yes, Snow White married the prince, of course. The queen actually showed up at the reception, if you can believe it. Everyone threw dinner rolls at her and booed so loudly that she ran away and she was never heard from again. Things are pretty much back to normal now. When it gets cold outside, we're grateful for our 10-foot scarves. And every once in a while, we make banana cream pie without any bananas, just for old time's sake. And then we have our Think About It. Fairy tales have been around a long time and often have many different versions. What version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs do you know best? How is it different from this one, and how is it the same? So this is called a fractured fairy tale because it's giving us a different spin on the version that we are most familiar with from the Disney classic. So I want you to think about what fairy tale do you love, and I want you to write it in the comments this morning. Have a great Monday, and I will see you later at our class meeting. Bye.